Welcome to the Sire 2.0 inspection program and to the fifth module in this series of short videos. This module will cover the type of question guidance available in the Sire 2.0 inspection question set, including the guidance provided with each question, the actions that the inspector is expected to take, the evidence expected to be submitted, and the potential grounds for negative observations. Every question and the supporting guidance have been developed using a standard template with guidelines for completing each section and element. To ensure that a question is managed properly within the Sire 2.0 software, a number of attributes have been identified and set out. Question number and question group, used to set out the chapter, section, and sequential number. Also used to manage groups of rotational questions to maintain a balanced question allocation. Question area, used to manage time allocation to a defined area on board the vessel. ROVIC sequence, used to identify the physical location on board where the question will be displayed by the inspection editor software. Response type, used to ensure that the required response tool is presented by the inspection editor software with the following options: human, process, hardware, photo validation. Question type, used to manage the allocation of questions by frequency or conditionality. Core, rotational 1, rotational 2, campaign, conditional. Vessel type, used to identify the type of vessel and operation that a question may apply to. For example, oil, chemical, LPG, LNG. Input material, used to identify the locations from where additional input material will be sourced. For example, Vessel's Particulars Questionnaire, VPQ, used to identify questions that will be allocated or managed based on specific information provided within the VPQ. PSC Inspection Repository, used to provide a link to search for data in the OCIMF PSC repository. Publications, used to make an association with the publications database for updating purposes. Document store, used to link vessel certificates and documents for display in the inspection editor. Pre-inspection questionnaire, used to link information provided by the vessel operator relating to the operational history and performance of the vessel. Also used to resolve ambiguities to assist in question allocation. Testing and approvals, used to identify and record the approvals of the participating working groups, the steering group, and the subject matter expert before the question is finally ready for inclusion in the library. Every question and the supporting guidance have been developed using a standard template with guidelines for completing each section and element. The question structure provides a clear understanding to all program participants regarding what the question addresses, what industry best practice, rules and regulations and inspection guidance should be considered when assessing the issue, what issues and operations the inspector is expected to consider and assess, what evidence the ship may be asked to provide, what circumstances may lead to a negative observation. All questions in the library have been ranked using OCIMF's bow-tie risk analysis method and have human, procedural and hardware elements. Each Sire 2.0 question is constructed with the following components. The top-level question. This provides an overview of the purpose and scope of the question itself. The abbreviated question text. This is used in the ROVIC and chapter mode displays to help the inspector quickly interpret which questions are included in the CVIQ. The objective. This provides a statement identifying the purpose of the top-level question. The inspection guidance. This provides an overview of expectations from the vessel's safety management system and carries forward any previous Sire guidance that is considered to be a standard inspection requirement. Here we will look at an example of a question, its structure and guidance. The top-level question in this case is: were the master and officers familiar with the company procedures for the safe operation of the ballast water management system (BWMS), and was the equipment in satisfactory condition and used in accordance with the company procedures and manufacturer's instructions? The shortened or abbreviated question which helps prompt the inspector in this case is Ballast Water Management System (BWMS). The objective here is to identify the overall purpose of the top-level question. In this case, to ensure that ballast is always handled safely in accordance with company procedures and manufacturer's instructions. The guidance to every question is structured in the following manner. Industry guidance. This contains the industry best practice guidance, any relevant OCIMF publications and papers, the most relevant TMSA KPIs, any applicable rules and regulations, for example, SOLAS, MARPOL, IGC or IBC codes, etc. Remember that this is not an exhaustive interpretation of industry guidance. Inspector guidance. The guidance in this section is used to provide a basic framework for what actions the inspector should consider when addressing the top-level question. For example, cite and where necessary, review. Inspect the visible part of. Where necessary, review the maintenance records. Expected evidence. This section provides a list of the documentary evidence that should be made available to the inspector during the inspection process. The inspector may request further unlisted evidence to assure themselves that the top-level question has been addressed. The list of expected evidence should not be considered as exhaustive. Evidence should be made available according to the guidance supporting a specific question, or where no guidance is provided, for the previous 6 months or since the last Sire inspection, whichever is more recent. Potential observations. This section provides a list of the circumstances in which the inspector may consider entering a negative observation. The list is not exhaustive, but is representative of the most likely grounds for a negative observation based on the associated question guidance. For every question, there are 3 tabs. 1. Operator-supplied content. 2. Guidance. And 3. Responses. Within the Guidance tab, the inspector will find the 4 basic areas of guidance, which include 1. The guidance section that provides the objective, the associated best practice guidance, the most applicable TMSA reference, the most applicable ISM reference, and any applicable regulations. 2. The suggested inspector actions to help the inspector to verify that all aspects of the top-level question and the guidance section have been addressed. The suggested actions list is not compulsory and only needs to be completed to the point the inspector is confident the required responses can be completed. 3. The expected evidence to help understand the documentary evidence that should be made available during the inspection. The inspector may request further unlisted evidence to assure themselves that the top-level question has been addressed. The list of expected evidence should not be considered as exhaustive. Evidence should be made available according to the guidance supporting a specific question, or where no guidance is provided, for the previous 6 months or since the last Sire inspection, whichever is more recent. 4. The potential grounds for an observation details circumstances under which the inspector may consider entering a negative observation. The list is not exhaustive, but is representative of the most likely grounds for a negative observation based on the question guidance. In this module, we have looked at the type of question guidance available in the Sire 2.0 inspection. These included the guidance provided with each question, the actions that the inspector is expected to take, the evidence expected to be submitted, and the potential grounds for negative observations. Thanks for watching.